There's a feeling every investor knows. You look at a stock, the chart is going up, the business is good and everyone's talking about it. And something inside you says, no, it's too expensive. I missed it, so I'll wait for a pullback. You wait, but the pullback never comes. Or it comes and you still don't buy and the stock keeps going up. 5 years later, you look back and you realize you missed out on one of the greatest investments of your life. Not because you didn't see it, you saw it. You just couldn't bring yourself to pay at that price. This video is about why that happens. And it happens to almost everyone. And it's happening right now with a stock most people watching this will have looked at and probably walked away from. And that's not a mathematic problem, it's a psychological problem. Picture this, it's 1990. You're sitting in a brokerage office. You're looking at a company called Walmart. The stock is up a lot and the business is great. Everyone knows about it, but the price to earnings ratio is 33. The market average is 15. Your friends tell you it's overvalued. The newspaper agrees. And every voice you hear says the same thing. Wait for it to come down. So you wait, but it goes up another 170 times from that point. And you spend the next 30 years explaining to yourself why you didn't buy it. The feeling, that exact feeling, is the most expensive emotion in investing. And almost no one understands where it comes from. Our brains were built for a world that no longer exists. For most of human history, when something looked too good, it was usually a trap. The fruit that was too easy to reach was probably poisonous. The deal that was too generous was probably a setup. The leader who promised too much was probably lying. Caution kept our ancestors alive. Skepticism was survival. And those same instincts still run your brain today. When you look at a stock chart that's been going up for 10 years, the part of your brain that kept your ancestors alive screams something is wrong here, get away. But the stock market is not the savannah desert. The thing that goes up for 10 years is often the thing that is going to still keep going up. Because the reason it went up is real. The business is real, the customers are real, and the compounding is real. Your brain is using a tool that worked beautifully 30,000 years ago and applying it to a problem now that actively hurts you. This has a name in psychology. It's called anchoring bias. You anchor to the price you first saw, and anything higher than that feels wrong. If you notice Walmart at 50 cents, every higher price than that feels like you're being ripped off. If you notice Apple at $50, every higher price than that feels insulting. If you notice Costco at $400, the current price near 1,000 feels offensive. It's not offensive, it's just higher. And the stock doesn't know what you paid attention to. The stock is just doing what good businesses do. It's compounding. Now there's a second psychological trap, and it's even more dangerous. It's the belief that cheap is safe. When something is expensive, it feels risky. When something is cheap, it feels safe. We trust this instinct because usually in everyday life, it tends to be right. A cheap house in a good neighborhood, a cheap car that runs well, a cheap shirt that fits perfectly. But in the stock market, cheap is often a warning. Cheap stocks are usually cheap for a reason. The business is failing, the customers are leaving, the brand is dying, the competition is winning. The market priced it cheap because the future looks dark. And expensive stocks are usually expensive for a reason. The business is winning, the customers are loyal, the brand is growing, the competition can't catch up, and the market priced it as expensive because the future is bright. But this feels wrong to our brain because it inverts everything our brain has learned about safety. But it's how investing actually works. The cheap stocks you feel safe buying are often the ones that destroy your money. The expensive stocks you're afraid to touch are often the ones that compound for decades. And this is not advice to chase momentum or buy at the top. It's a warning that the feeling of safety you get from a low price tag can often be a lie. And the feeling of danger that you may get for a high price tag can often be a lie too. The right question is never, is this cheap or expensive? It's what am I actually buying and how long can it keep doing what it does? Now let me give you a real example of this. Costco currently trades at around $1,000 a share. The price to earnings ratio is 52. The dividend is 0.5%. By every traditional measure, it's one of the most expensive companies currently on the market. Everyone knows about it, everyone has thought about buying it, but no one really does. Because of that feeling. The same feeling investors had about Walmart in 1990. The same feeling investors had about Apple in 2003 and Microsoft in 2014. Too expensive, missed it, wait for the pullback. But let me ask you something simple. When you walk into Costco on a Saturday, what do you see? You see hundreds of thousands of customers, a parking lot that's full every weekend, and a business that has loyal customers. Now look at the chart. The stock has gone up consistently for 30 years. And every single year people said it was too expensive. But every single year they were often wrong. Not because the math was wrong, because the framework was wrong. The framework says the multiple is too high. But it's that same framework that kept investors out of Microsoft, Apple, and many more. And those people who got rich didn't get rich by being smarter than anyone else. They got rich by being willing to feel uncomfortable when everyone else couldn't. And here's the part nobody says out loud. You don't need to be a genius to make great money on great companies. You need to be willing to feel stupid for buying them. Stupid because they're expensive and everyone tells you to wait. But every great long-term investor has similar traits, not raw intelligence, not perfect timing, but permission to look potentially wrong in the short term. Buffett looked wrong on Coca-Cola after he bought it 2 years later. Munger looked wrong on See's Candy for almost a decade. And this Costco-style trade looks wrong for a long time. But the patient investor is willing to look like a fool because they understand the simple truth that discomfort is the entry fee that they have to pay for the truth. There's no version of buying great companies that feels comfortable when you do it. The prices will always look high. The chart will always look extended, and the voices around you will always say, wait. If you wait for comfort, you'll wait forever. I'm not telling you to buy at the peak. I'm just telling you to be aware of these psychological traits and overcome your fears. And if you enjoyed this lesson and you want to learn more, subscribe to this channel where I post at least 5 videos a week for long-term investors.